Today we're going to learn how GCF and LCM can be used to solve word problems. So here's example 2 on page 125.
Keisha is putting together bags of supplies. She puts an equal number of craft sticks and an equal number of glue bottles in each bag. There are no supplies left over. What is the greatest number of bags of supplies that Keisha can make?
Okay, so they want the greatest number that she can divide these materials up into, so you need the greatest common factor. So we learned a couple of ways to do this. You can either list all the factors or you can use the ladder method. Some of you know it as the cake method. Let's do 12 and 42. You could say that they're both even, so we can divide them both by 2. Of course, you can divide them by other things, but I just want you to see that you can even go as simple as dividing by 2 and still get the correct answer. 12 divided by 2 is 6, 42 divided by 2 is 21, and then you draw another layer because 6 and 21 are both divisible by 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. And now 2 and 7 don't have any common factors besides 1, so we can stop right here, and that means that we would use these two numbers for our GCF, and 2 times 3 is 6. So the GCF is 6. So meaning that the GCF is 6, Keisha can make 6 bags of supplies. Now it's your turn with the try it.
Keisha has 24 beads to add equally to each bag. Can she still make 6 bags and have no supplies left over?
There are a number of ways that you could solve this, but pause a minute and make your decision. Can she still make 6 bags and have no supplies left over? So in addition to using 12 bottles of glue and 42 craft sticks, if she also wants to add 24 beads, can she still make 6 bags and have no supplies left over? Pause the video and try it. We already know that we're making 6 bags with the previous supplies, and since 6 goes in evenly into 24 as well, then yes, she can still make 6 bags and have no supplies left over. She would be able to add 4 beads to each bag. 24 divided by 6 is 4, so she can add 4 beads to each bag. Okay, this is example 4 on page 126.
Grant is making picnic lunches. He wants to buy as many juice bottles as applesauce cups, but no more than he needs to have an equal number of each. How many packages of each should Grant buy?
Okay, so we now, unlike example 2, we were starting with a fixed amount of supplies and wanting to divide it up amongst bags. Now we have certain sets that we can purchase, but we want to see how many of them we can buy. So now this is more thinking of expanding as opposed to dividing. So that's why this is more of a least common multiple question. They show the least common multiple by using the prime factorization. That's another method that you can use, but we are just going to use the ways that we learned yesterday. You can list the multiples of 6 and 8 until you find one that they have in common, or you can use the ladder method. And so if I use the ladder method with 6 and 8, I can divide them both by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 and 3 have no common factors besides 1. So I use these numbers to find my LCM, and I multiply 2 times 3 times 4, and that gives me 24. So I still get the LCM of 24. So Grant should buy 4 packages of juice and 3 packages of applesauce. The way they get that number or those numbers is since the least common multiple is 24 and the juice bottles come as 6 per pack, right? We want 24 juice bottles, but we would need to buy 4 packages of the juice bottles because they come in sets of 6. Makes sense? So 24, we took this 24 and we divided it by this 6. So that's how we got 4 packages of juice. And then we had to do the same thing with the applesauce. Okay, we need 24 cups of applesauce, which means we need 3 packages of applesauce because 24 divided by 8 is 3. Okay, so for questions like this, you can't stop once you find the least common multiple because then they also want to ask how many packages of each should Grant buy. If they just asked how many of each they should have in order to have an equal number of each, then you could say that you would need 24 of each, but they want to know how many packages that we could buy. So that's why you have to then take another step of dividing the least common multiple by how much they had per package. So you're going to try one very similar to this now.
Grant also buys bottled water and juice pouches for the picnic. There are 12 bottles of water in each case and 10 juice pouches in each box. Grant wants to buy the least amount but still have as many bottles of water as juice pouches. How many of each should he buy? Explain.
Okay, so this is essentially the same exact problem as the example, but now with different numbers. And yes, we're still talking about Grant, but this information is not tied to the numbers and the answers that you got from the example. Okay, this is not like example 2 where they were asking you to now add 24 beads to the bags that we already had. So this, although it is very similar to example 4, you don't need any of the information from example 4 to do this. So think of this as a brand new question. Grant wants to buy bottled water and juice pouches, and there's 12 bottles of water in each case and 10 juice pouches in each box. Okay, how many of each of those should he buy? Regardless of how many packages he bought of the juice bottles and applesauce, this is a different problem. Pause the video and try it yourself. Okay, just like in the example, they started by finding the least common multiple. So I'm going to put 10 and 12 inside our little ladder. And 10 and 12 are both divisible by 2. And so 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 6 and 5 have no common factors besides 1, which means we're going to multiply these numbers. 2 times 5, which is 10, and 10 times 6, which is 60. So my LCM is 60. Okay, so for this problem, what that means is that he wants to have 60 bottles of water and 60 juice pouches, so that he has the same amount of bottles of water and juice pouches. In order to have 60 bottles of water, if bottles of water come in cases of 12, how many cases of bottled water does he need? Well, you're going to take the 60 and you're going to divide that by 12. Okay, so we need 5 cases of bottled water. And then for the juice pouches, if we want 60 juice pouches, but juice pouches come in boxes of 10, then you just got to do 60 divided by 10. And so for 60 divided by 10, you get that we need 6 boxes of juice pouches. If you got it right, celebrate. So the LCM was 60, but the final answer for the question is he should have 5 cases of water and 6 boxes of juice pouches. You are ready to do your Math Excel on Envisioners.